its message is timeless. All of us are faced with the temptation to compromise, to surrender our principles in one way or another. Joan never lost her faith in God or in herself. Her life is proof that one individual can make a difference.
In a time of oppression,
soldiers are coming. There's no time.
I will not lose my daughter.
She was an innocent.
I have never seen such piety at an early age.
What puts these dreams inside your head?
A leader.
I must help unite the people of France.
God puts us where he wants us.
And
Be careful.
a woman so extraordinary.
I had heard voices as clearly as I'm speaking to you now.
What have your voices said to you?
That my destiny lies elsewhere.
She is still an inspiration.
She is going to unite all of France behind me.
Joan of Arc.
You are so brave. You are capable of more possibilities than you even imagine.
She gave hope to a monarchy.
Your Majesty, you must have faith, and the people of France will follow.
And brought unity to a nation.
If she wears the part well, the troops might rally.
Strike the English hard and kill them to the man.
We are not on a mission of vengeance, Captain.
What if she fails?
What if she succeeds?
Until those who praised her
Your Majesty, it is God's will that France is united.
You presume to speak for God?
God speaks for himself.
plotted to destroy her.
I warn you that the girl is neither liar nor hypocrite. She believes she has been instructed by God.
She is an unrepentant heretic, and she will burn.
Why are you punishing me for talking to God?
You will bravely face whatever life hands you. You are perilously close to heresy.
And when did truth become known as heresy?
You ask for eternal damnation!
Even if the stake were raised and the fire lit, I would not lose faith in God.
The classic tale. Now an epic 4-hour miniseries.
We contacted the president of CBS, Leslie Moonves, to recommend a presenter for this award. He said there was only one person, Sunta Izzicupo. From the very beginning, she was the godmother of the project at CBS. She believed in it and fought for it, and she was right. At a time when we're all concerned about our young people, this was the year's highest-rated CBS movie among 18 to 49-year-olds. Here to present the award to the producers of Joan of Arc is the CBS Vice President for Miniseries, Sunta Izzicupo.
Thank you, Michael. I'm still a little Roman Catholic girl from Boston. Thank you for inviting me here today to present this award to Ed Gurnon, Peter Sussman, Christian Duguay, and all of those at Alliance Atlantis Films for making Joan of Arc such a spectacular event. Earlier in the week, Budweiser and I were talking, and he asked me if it was difficult to get the Joan of Arc story into development. Was CBS concerned about the content? I assumed he meant its religious content. The answer was a simple no. We knew the concept was right for us immediately. We aren't afraid of a few miracles at CBS. Remember, we're the Touched by an Angel network. What truly took an act of faith, however, was producing it in 6 months for May sweeps. I was sitting here amazed at what is on the screen still. Ed Gurnon, Christian Duguay, and their crew went to Prague in the winter with a cast of literally thousands to shoot a complicated story in less than 2 months without a finished script. You know, they don't sell armor off the rack. Only one shop in Rome, of course, specializes in the stuff, and of course, There was no female armor at all. Even the horses needed armor and costumes. The production was monumental. Stunts, special effects, and several huge battles, which you saw. When you have 1,000 men charging on horseback with weapons in the mud and the cold, you're bound to have trouble. Every other day we'd get the injury report. We called it the Boo-Boo Brigade. But we had faith in the people we sent to Europe to perform a minor miracle. Every day it was thrilling to watch those dailies, to see actors like Lily Sobieski, Peter O'Toole, Shirley MacLaine, Jacqueline Bisset, who sent you special congrats today, Ed. She calls you a warrior. Olympia Dukakis, Peter Strauss, Neil Patrick Harris, in roles we'd never imagined, in scenes that were about something, morality, conviction, faith, courage, jealousy, even fear, and mostly hope. It was the real thing, human drama. At one point in the film, Peter O'Toole asks Joan a question. It's become one of our favorite lines at CBS. You can still hear it in the halls. You saw it today. He asks, "Do you presume to speak for God?" I won't do it again. She replies, "God speaks for himself." And I assume that is why we are here today. Because the filmmakers chose to allow universal religious themes to resonate, to speak for themselves, without analysis or explanation. And that ultimately they told a personal story of an imperfect young woman's journey from her point of view, from her simple beliefs. They allowed her her own experience with God. Beyond the mega production, I believe this is what we are honoring today, to capture on film the intimacy of the miracle of grace. It is my real honor to present this award, the CIMA Award, for the miniseries this year for Joan of Arc to Edgar.
Thank you, Sunta. In a strange way, I feel Sunta should be recognized for making the kinds of films that we are here tonight to celebrate on CBS. She has championed them for years and years, and honestly, I would not be standing here without the courage and support of Sunta. Thank you. And of course, I have to thank the Catholics in Media Association for finding a way. And I look around this room tonight, and Kathy, I agree with you. It's really extraordinary for a bunch of Catholics in the business to be gathered together. It doesn't often happen, and for me, it's the first time, and it's really quite a wonderful experience. So for having found a way to publicly acknowledge how important it is to emphasize the power of the images that we put out there. In fact, what I'd like to do today is to turn the responsibility back on everyone. Each and every one of you out there has a responsibility, and it begins with you. Not necessarily the images that we put up, but to inspirate those images. And to emphasize my point, I'd like to tell you, just briefly, a little bit about my own story. When I was a young teenager, and I hope this doesn't feel too touchy-feely, my mother, for reasons that are not entirely clear, suffered something of a nervous breakdown. And my father found himself overnight the single parent of 6 kids. He had to rearrange his life. He's here tonight, by the way, and this is why I wanted you to come. He had to rearrange his life, find a way to run a business, be both mother and father, get us through elementary school, high school, college, dating, divorcing, fighting, yelling, screaming, good grades, bad, drugs, whatever. And somehow, we managed to get through it all together. He's a man who is loving, consistent, generous, wise, and forgiving. In short, to know him is to have the tiniest idea about what it is to know God. And so, he is the person who allowed me to not only survive a film like Joan, but also to imbue it with a lot of the ideas and the themes that we're here celebrating tonight. And so for all you parents out there, take your responsibility seriously, and we can make this kind of difference. Thank you.
1999 has been a year of unprecedented violence on television. The violence was not a product of the Hollywood studios. It came from the American suburbs and small towns. It was real. It was news. Critics of our industry say that we are partially responsible, that we are the part of the problem. Perhaps we are also part of the answer. We don't make laws, we make movies. The movie CIMA has selected for its 1999 award is grounded in the belief that the ultimate hope for our society and for the individual is the family. Down in the Delta is the story of a woman who is rescued from despair and self-destruction by the unconditional and sometimes tough love of her family. The film's director, Angelou, in talking about Down in the Delta, said, "A family has the power to heal as well as to damage, to strengthen and build up as well as to tear down." And she said something else about the movie that she somehow captured on film, and it's worth repeating. Down in the Delta is a story to remind us that as human beings, we are all more alike than different. This story can be set in Canton, Ohio, or Canton, China, in Paris, France, or in Paris, Texas. The story begins in Chicago, where a young woman is hurtling out of control in a world of drugs, alcohol, and hopelessness. In a final desperate attempt to rescue her daughter, her mother sends her back to the ancestral home down in the Mississippi Delta.
Do you ever think about where we're going to be 5 years from now?
You don't get it, do you? There are no jobs out there because I have looked.
Nobody ever accused Loretta Sinclair of being responsible.
Look at that. You can't grab a rose off your back.
One more thing. Basic math test, just to make sure you know your dollars and cents.
I thought the machine did the figuring. I'm sorry. Ain't that much sorry in the world, Mama. I want to send Loretta and the children to you this summer.
No, now you listen to me.
Your own brother's daughter, and they need your help.
Now, she's going to a place she's never been.
Are you Uncle Earl?
And meeting the family she never knew.
Loretta. Cousin Loretta.
I do.
Down in the Delta. And when big city
I'm telling you, he is crazy.
meets small town.
Loretta's going to be working with us for the summer.
Chicken stew, chicken hat, chicken on a stick.
You need to shut that place down and open you up a Popeyes.
And young meets old.
Who's 5? It's a good summer gun.
What's a summer gun?
Don't need a big coat to hide it.
Everyone's in for something they never expected.
You're Sinclair. And that means something to us.
Well, there were men and women and mothers and fathers, sisters and brothers and daughters.
Like I said, you can get it in your local video store if you haven't seen it yet. To present the award to the film's producers is one of the stars of Down in the Delta. You certainly know her from Carol O'Connor's series In the Heat of the Night, and you can see her on the CBS series JAG as Congresswoman Bobby Latham. It's my pleasure to present Anne Marie Johnson.
Good afternoon. It's really needy for me to be here after a very depressing month, and I've been meeting with several network executives and several executive producers and television creators in regards to the lack of diversity and the lack of the representation of the true American scene. I'm sure we've all been reading about it. And I think I need to enlist the help of Father Kaiser because I think he can get something done. So I'd like to speak to you afterwards, and let's exchange cards and let's have lunch. It was a joy to work on Down in the Delta for several reasons. Not only to be a part of such a phenomenal project, a very positive script that represented almost every family, but it was very exciting to obviously work with Dr. Maya Angelou and to experience working with Esther Roll. It was one of her last roles. I think it was her last completed role. And she was such a marvelous artist. And it still affects me deeply to see her work and to know that I was honored to be honored by her presence. So I just wanted to make a comment that it was just a joy to work with such a phenomenal talent. Thank you for allowing me to do that. Rick Rosenberg and Bob Christiansen and their company, Chris Rose Productions, are known for meaningful, high-quality, much-needed programming. Going back to the autobiography of Jane Pittman, and I don't know about you, but I was raised on television, and that one miniseries encouraged me to do what I'm doing now. And so it's nice to personally thank the both of you to bring to the screen such a positive story about the African American experience that hadn't ever been seen before. So thanks for that also. They've been nominated for almost 50 Emmys, recognizing from the beginning that casting was critical to the success of the film. They brought in a third producer, Rueben Canon. In 25 years of producing and casting, Mr. Canon's unerring instinct has been responsible for the careers of many of today's major stars, and I'm still waiting for that, Rueben. It's an honor for me to ask Cardinal Mahoney to present the 1999 CIMA Feature Film Award to the producers of Down in the Delta, Rick Rosenberg, Bob Christiansen, and Rueben Canon.
Thank you again. Every day our faith is tested. I think producing film and television programming or entertainment, especially producing feature films, is a great test of faith. My producing partners, Rick and Bob, had the faith to believe in this script years ago, 3 years prior to bringing it to me. And one of the blessings of this business, when you get to work with friends, it just makes all the stress a great deal less. But the faith in this project, once placed in the hands of Maya Angelou, took on a new dimension. As we've heard, she did believe that we're more alike than we are different. And in honoring this film, you celebrate and you recognize the likeness. You recognize the relatability. You know, we keep adding cities and countries to where this film can be received, whether it's Birmingham, Alabama, or Birmingham, England. But the faith in the project all along is what kept showing up. The faith of Anne-Marie Johnson and Wesley Snipes and Alfred Woodard. The first day of filming, before the words action was spoken, a prayer was said. And it's that prayer that has guided this film and has brought us to this point. I like to thank and acknowledge the support of Showtime, the enormous creative staff there that helped bring this film to, ultimately to financing, which ultimately led to Miramax. Each step along the way where there was a no, a blessing showed up. You know, the blessing of a wonderful cast, the blessing of a wonderful promotional team and support. And the blessing of being able to show a film to your family that you can be proud of. I don't know how we got to a point where family films somehow means less than action films. We celebrate family, we know we cherish family, but how do we get to a point where it means less than that in which there's a special effect? The effect here is indeed that it touches our hearts. The effect here is that you get to see something on the screen that you can relate to. Transformation, healings. We all have it, we all need it, we've always been a part of that. So it's with pride and a great deal of respect for you and for CIMA that when you honor this film, you honor yourselves, because we're more alike than we are different. And I'd like to bring my partners to the podium to say a few words as well. Rick, Bob.
Like Ruben says, it was a joy to do this picture because every day when you would come to the set, you felt all the goodness and the people all working together, all kinds of people. That we did down in the Delta in Toronto was a little bit of a stretch too, but I tell you, all the all the people from Toronto, the crew, the local actors. I think you saw a couple of the women who were waitresses who played the local cast. Everybody really found it exceptional to go to work in the morning. And through the course of a long career, those are the kinds of films that we like to do. They're hard enough to get made. They're very, very difficult to get everybody to believe. And as Father Kaiser says, usually the last moment when you finally get it to go. And when you are on a train that is filled with people all having a good time and doing something they love, it's exceptional. And this was an exceptional experience. Thanks again, everyone.
We just finished a picture called The Crossing. It's George Washington crossing the Delaware. And as I think Father Kaiser and other people in the room here will attest, the one thing that makes a movie work, I think as well as anything, is 100 good pages. And Myron Goebel wrote an exceptional screenplay. And I just think that Esther Rolls, as somebody just mentioned a minute ago, Maya called one time and said, well, what do you think? What do you think? And I said, you know, let Esther Rolls be around in the picture as much as you can. Even when she doesn't say anything, she's just sitting there. And I'd like to say thanks to her, Maya, my partner, one partner of half my life, and my other partner down there, my other half of life, and thank you all very, very much.